Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fallacious Truth. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of this fourth video of the analysis that we're doing on the story that we previously heard. Thus far we've had betrayal, we've had confusion, we've had all the normal emotions that go along with your wife deceiving you and eventually coming to a divorce. Right now we are working on what you should do, when you should do it, according to the timeline of this particular story here, as far as making your best standing as far as a divorce is concerned. Men start at such a disadvantage, and there are things that you can do despite what others may say to help mitigate your losses and even in some instances give you an upper hand if you strategize and plan it properly. So please continue to stay tuned, sit back and listen. I'll leave links to the other previous videos here. We've already had part 1, part 2, and part 3 as far as the story goes. We've had the first part of the analysis video, and this is the second part and the final video for the analysis. Once again, thank you for listening, and let's continue here. Alright, we need to take notice of a few more things here. She's now getting bolder. She's actually saying to her husband that her boss's son of the new job is a good-looking guy. What wife would ever say that to her husband unless she's testing him to see how he's going to react? She sees that she isn't getting much of a reaction out of him because her husband seems like he's way too nice of a guy. He's a genuine nice guy. Quite honestly, way too nice for her current tastes. And because there's no reaction in her entitled mind, she sees that as an opportunity to move forward. She actually goes as far as to plant the seed in her husband's mind that she doesn't want to work with him meaning the boss's son. That she doesn't like to work with him. Secretly, she really does. That shows intent and deception on her part to move forward with her plan. As we listen further, she also starts to act strange, completely out of the norm. She becomes guarded with her phone, etc. To any one of us, these would be major red flags that need to be documented, recorded, and observed. He states that he's the primary breadwinner of the family. This is true for him, and it's true for many of us men. Traditionally, we are the breadwinners of the family. This is also our downfall, unfortunately, when it comes to divorce. Because we're the breadwinner, we aren't with our kids as much, if we have kids. And because we make more, the state seems to think that we need to pay for the existence of our soon-to-be ex after she has become our ex. At this point, we have to make a choice. The signs are clearly there. The red flags are clearly there. The actions and behaviors are clearly present. His wife is slipping away, and you've got two choices to make. You can either try to win her back, which I don't think is the correct option, or you can start to plan and strategize. If it were me, I would choose to plan and strategize. You see, she's distracted right now, and you need to use this to your advantage. She's distracted with her job. She's distracted with this new guy. Like I said, this distraction can and should be used to your advantage like nothing else. Her focus is elsewhere, and now is the time when you need to set up your chess pieces. Now, I know in the story, she ends up leaving voluntarily. Rarely, and I mean rarely, does this ever happen. Normally, she's going to put up a fight like no other because of her entitled personality. Then she goes on to tell him that not only has she been sleeping with her boss's son for about 6 months, but they've already planned to move out together as she wanted a fresh start. Fellas, if you have these kind of warning signs and you wait until you get confirmation, and your confirmation almost never comes like this, where they're actually admitting to things, usually you find out through some kind of investigation on your part. Like I said, if you found out like this, then you are already behind the 8 ball. You see, if you're a man facing divorce, time is what you need. Time right now is worth more than its weight in gold, as you will need time for everything. Time can and will make or break you in a divorce. By this time, you will have long needed to have your notebook and your recording device. Divorces are rarely amicable, and you need to be able to protect yourself. You need to be recording every conversation with her so she doesn't call the cops and get you thrown out of the house. You need to be able to play the recording back to the cops to prove who the aggressor really was if she goes to lie to the police. Women do this far too often, and they know they can get away with it. That's why they do it. This recording device will literally save your freedom, and it will save your ability to see your children. I can't stress to you enough the importance of this, and do not rely on your phone. As I said in my previous divorce prep video, go out and get a digital recorder that fits in your pocket. Spend a little bit more and get the better one because chances are it's going to have better quality. By this time, if you don't have discrete cameras in your house, make sure you have a few in designated areas that you are in. As soon as divorce is brought up, any place where you do not have a camera touching, you need to consider that as an off-limit zone, as you are not covered by the camera. You are not protected by this recording device. This is crucial if, once again, she calls the police and makes up some BS story about you, and you're forced to defend yourself with video. She has just mentioned divorce here. It is imperative that you make your way to the bank, remove half of the funds from your joint bank account if you have one, and put it into an account all of your own. While she can take everything and no one bats an eye, if you try to do the same thing, you will be chastised by the judge and she will end up with everything anyway. So never take all of it. Only take the half that you would technically be entitled to. Yes, I know, you and you alone work for this, but trust me, this is the safer and better option. Make sure that you have all your social security numbers for yourself and your children. Make sure you have your house deeds, anything with regards to your cars, make sure you have the originals. This includes your marriage licenses. Any important documents, you make sure you have them for yourself. You need to put them in a safe place known to you and only you, or keep them in a safety deposit box that only you have access to. When she comes to want these, you give her copies. You never, ever give her the originals. She is no longer your wife. She is not your partner anymore. She is nothing more than a roommate at best until this is all figured out. At this point, you need to be prepping for war. You need to be prepping for the most important battle of your life. All right, at this point, we're going to stop listening to the story, so to speak. This man was incredibly lucky. He was incredibly lucky with how things turned out for him. One of the biggest reasons why is she simply didn't care what happened, and that's extremely unusual. She must have been so infatuated with this other man that she didn't try to do much of anything. You see, at this point, the woman would usually start gaslighting the man, trying to pin everything on him. And as men, unfortunately, we have been trained to fall on our swords, and we must never do that. We have got to stand up for ourselves. When she tells you to leave the marital residence, you never, ever leave the marital residence without a court order. And since you are documenting and recording everything, you are lessening the chance by an order of magnitude of her ability to get away with lying about you to the police and having you forcibly removed from the home. Remember, fellas, without some kind of evidence, you generally won't be believed, and in some cases, you'll even be laughed at. The risk to yourself is far too great. You need to wait her out, and you never, ever leave marital residence at her behest without a court order. And I'm telling you, she's going to do her damnedest to get one too, if that's what she wants. Remember, at this point, she has already made the decision. Don't try to get back with her. You need to press forward and not give her an inch, for if you do, she will manipulate you and take anything that she can. As the saying goes, give her an inch and she'll take a mile. Now, onto your children if you have them. Your children to you, they're of paramount importance. Normally, women don't go willingly. Normally, they certainly don't say that the children can stay at the marital residence with you and she'll just come to visit. That almost never happens, and I was very surprised when reading that myself. To her, to a woman choosing to do this, those kids are nothing more than currency to her. And quite honestly, they're usually nothing more than currency to most women who try to pull these stunts. Never ever give in to anything that she demands or requests. You need to accept nothing less than your children 50% of the time and primary legal custody if you can swing it. I know it's very difficult, but you need to look into the laws of your state, and you also need to go back and listen to my Prepping for Divorce video. I'll leave a link for this one here in the video and down in the description. This will explain this a whole lot better. You, as the man and as the father, need to make sure that you are making the important decisions for your children, as statistically, your decisions will be far more sound than hers will. There are plenty of studies to back this up and prove it as well. Now, because of the way the system is designed, somewhere, sometime along the way, you will end up paying her something. As much as it may piss you off in righteous anger, and rightfully so, never show it. Never show those feelings of anger. You must remain stoic throughout the entire time. If you're able to, at the onset of those red flags, try to find a lesser paying job and take it. You will take a hit immediately, but in the long run, you will save money. You see, the more money you make, the more money she will take. It's that simple, fellas. Always remember this and never forget it. If you wait to do this when she is going to leave or by the time she announces divorce, I'm sorry, my friend, it's too late and the court will see right through it. What you need to do is set the status quo. And like before, I won't get into that, as that's a whole nother 2 to 3 videos. And I've already covered that in my divorce series. I'll leave a link down at the bottom for you to listen to it so you can get to it quickly. But you absolutely need to set the new status quo. This includes making sure you know everything there is to know about your children as well. Again, I won't get into it here, but I can't express the importance of setting up the new status quo. It will make you or break you. All in all, this fella got extremely lucky. I mean, so lucky that he only got off with 6 months of alimony and no child support. I personally believe that due to the story and the evidence of the story, that this was due to the fact of her insatiable infatuation stage. She had no other focus other than this boss's son. Normally, this doesn't happen. Actually, normally it's the opposite, and usually the new Chad is in her back corner, helping her with everything. Instead, she simply moved out, which, like I said, it usually never happens. Later on towards the end of the story, they eventually make up and get back together. I'm talking 60 years of age. That's according to the story, that's how old they are now. Now, I mean no disrespect to the individual who posted the story, but brother, she did nothing but use you. She used you while you were married, she used you while you were divorced, and now she comes crawling back to you at the end because she doesn't want to spend the remaining years that she has and die alone. My friend, that's the long and the short of it. She is playing the field. She told you what you wanted to hear, and you are willing to take her back in the end. I'm not 60 years of age, but, maybe my opinion will change with time, but personally, as of right now, I would never have taken her back. Trust is the most important thing in a relationship, especially marriage. She knows how to manipulate you. She knows your tics. She knows what you react to, what you don't react to. Brother, I'd tell her to go pound sand. She needs you far more than you will ever need her. There is so much more that can be added to the above analysis too, but we're taking 3 to 4 videos on all this alone. If there's an interest in the future for something like this, I'd be more than happy to do it, but for now, I'll simply leave it as it is. Fellas, seeing the signs and preparing for this war to come is of utmost importance. You don't get a second chance at this. You get one chance and one chance alone, and you are already starting off at a disadvantage. And thank you for sticking with me throughout these 5 videos here. I hope we've been able to learn and glean a few things off of some others' mistakes, and maybe things that we can change to better help ourselves in the future, especially if you're facing a divorce here. I know I've said it many times and I'll say it again. You truly only get one chance to get this right. And what you do is going to affect you from now until 20, 30 years down the road. Potentially even longer, depending on your situation. So thank you much, and please like, share, and subscribe. I have another video out for you here in not too long, maybe 24 hours. Thank you, my friends, and take care.